Today, let's uncover why King Robert Baratheon was so different in A Song of Ice and Fire compared to the show. In the show, Robert is portrayed as a heavy-drinking, somewhat comic figure who reminisces about his past glories but seems like a shadow of his former self. But in the books, he's a more complex, even tragic character, and George R.R. Martin brings out layers to Robert's personality that hint at both his greatness and his flaws. First, let's start with Robert's backstory. In the books, Robert isn't just a king who let himself go. He's remembered as a powerful warrior who led the rebellion against the Targaryens and took the Iron Throne by force. He's described as a giant of a man with raw physical strength, someone who was fierce on the battlefield and inspiring to those around him. His rebellion wasn't just a matter of seizing power. It was deeply personal. He was madly in love with Lyanna Stark, who was allegedly kidnapped by Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. This love, and the rage it ignited, pushed him to lead an uprising that changed the course of Westerosi history. But in the show, this driving force is somewhat downplayed, making Robert seem more like a ruler who simply got tired of ruling. The Robert of the books is a warrior turned king, a man who was never suited for ruling. While he loved the thrill of battle, he despised the politics and responsibilities that came with the throne. In A Game of Thrones, Ned Stark often remembers Robert's strength and bravery, but he also sees how ruling has eroded Robert's spirit. This side of Robert isn't highlighted as much in the show, which paints him as a lazy, indulgent king. In the books, he's a more tragic figure, someone who won a crown but lost his sense of purpose along the way. Robert's relationships are also more nuanced in the books. His marriage to Cersei is a complete disaster. He's still haunted by Lyanna's death, and it's clear he never loved Cersei, seeing her instead as a political necessity rather than a partner. Robert's inability to let go of Lyanna and move on emotionally plays a big part in his downfall. In the books, he speaks bitterly about his marriage, calling Cersei a cold fish. This bitterness eats away at him, making him restless and reckless, which contributes to his eventual downfall. In the show, we get glimpses of this, but the deep regret and unhappiness that define his inner life aren't fully explored. Robert's struggles with the crown are also portrayed differently. In the books, he's aware of his shortcomings as a king. He often laments that the throne isn't what he thought it would be and despises the bureaucracy and politics that come with it. He has moments where he acknowledges to Ned that he isn't cut out to rule and even considers stepping down. This self-awareness adds depth to his character, showing he isn't simply lazy, he's a man out of place in a role he never wanted. The show touches on this, but the book's Robert is more reflective, with layers of regret and self-loathing that make him more tragic. Then there's his friendship with Ned Stark. In the books, Robert and Ned's friendship is central to his character. He values Ned's honesty and loyalty, and he sees Ned as the only person he can truly trust. Their relationship is one of mutual respect and shared history, and Robert relies on Ned to keep him grounded. The show captures some of this dynamic, but in the books, Robert's respect for Ned is deeper. He trusts Ned enough to name him Hand of the King, hoping that Ned can bring order to a realm Robert feels is slipping away from him. This bond makes Robert's eventual downfall even more tragic, as he loses the one person who might have saved him from himself. Finally, let's talk about his weaknesses. Both the books and the show portray Robert as a man who overindulges in drinking, feasting, and but in the books, these habits are less about comic relief and more a reflection of his inner turmoil. He's trying to escape the crushing weight of the throne, and his self-destructive behavior is a symptom of his dissatisfaction with his life. Robert knows he's not the king he once dreamed of being. He's haunted by the idea that he might have been a better man if he died on the battlefield rather than becoming king. In the show, his vices are played for laughs, but in the books, they serve as a window into his soul, a reminder of how far he's fallen from the hero he once was. So, why is Book Robert so different from Show Robert? The show simplifies him, making him a tired, comic figure. But in the books, he's a tragic hero, someone who conquered the world for love, only to realize that ruling was his true curse. He's a king who never wanted the crown, a warrior who couldn't thrive in peace, and a man haunted by lost love. That's the real Robert Baratheon. Thanks for watching.